Okay, students, so let us begin. So we are studying modern periodic table. All right, we started with the introduction, little bit introduction, and we have also seen how to write electronic configuration, which is a very important part of this chapter. Okay, so I am assuming by now you all know how to write electronic configuration. Okay, it was there in your chapter number 4. So I have taught you all that topic, and your entire chapter of modern periodic table is based on electronic configuration. Okay, fine. So last time we did this topic, periodic table and electronic configuration, and to be more specific, we did this topic, electronic configuration and periods. Okay, so how to relate your configuration. So if I give you any element, all right, and you all have to determine in which period that element is, how we can do that. So we have to check the principal quantum number, that is n. Okay, small n of the valence shell. All right, fine. So for example, if you all can see, just a minute. Okay, see, so here the element gallium. All right, so they have written the configuration for gallium. All right, students, this is the condensed form of writing the configuration, where you all write the previous noble gas or inert gas that is there, because the configuration is going to be same till that place, and after that you all are going to write whatever extra is there. Okay, fine, in the new element. Again, normally while writing configuration, I always suggest don't go for condensed form, write the entire configuration. Okay, and see to it that you all are writing it according to the energy levels, like as you all can observe over here. So after 3s 3p 4s comes into picture, so first fill 4s2 and then write 3d10. So this is according to the energy level. All these points we have already discussed. So if you all look at gallium, students, you all can see we have entered the fourth shell now. Now students, this point I mentioned last time as well. Even though we have subshells and everything, 3p and 3d are present inside the third shell. 4s 4p and everything, they are present inside the fourth shell. Okay, their position is like, if you all look at the positions, obviously 3d comes first, because it is just a minute, some person has okay किया था मैंने, what Vaishali, all right, fine. Okay, so what I was telling, okay, so students, 3d that is there, okay, 3d will be under third shell only, and 4s will be inside fourth shell only, but the filling is different when the electrons are filling. So rather than going to 3d first, electrons will fill up 4s and then come back to 3d. That is what happens. Okay, fine. So here, if you all look at the configuration, which is the valence shell in this scenario, which is the main quantum number that we are supposed to consider, that is 4. The fourth shell, because we have entered the fourth shell. 4s is filled, 4p, it has started filling. Okay, so we have entered the fourth shell. So here the quantum number in picture is, the principal quantum number in picture is 4, which means that gallium is in the fourth period. Students, in this manner we can determine which group it is present, which block it is present. Everything can be determined from electronic configuration. So that we'll be seeing ahead. Okay, so this is what we did last time. Here's your periodic table. Okay, so I asked you all to read these two boxes. I hope you all have read it. All right, so if I just quickly go through it, what is given in the first one, what is the subshell in which the last electron of the first element in the sixth period enters? Okay, fine. So they are talking about the first element of the sixth period. I'll show you all this table because it is horizontal, like other one is vertical. Okay, so see, first element of the sixth period is cesium. Okay, students, with atomic number 55. All right. Now, if you all write the configuration for 55, okay, if you all write the entire configuration following the energy order and everything, you all will see that the electron, okay, the last electron that is there for cesium will enter into the 6s subshell. Okay, it kind of makes sense because we are in the sixth period. So obviously the valence shell that is going to be, it is going to be the shell number 6, right? So that kind of makes sense. So here in cesium, the last electron will go to 6s. So we will have 6s1. Okay, now how did I directly come to know without writing the configuration that it is S1? So I think so for that we need to do some more topics, so you all will be more clear with it. Let us see what they have written over here in the solution. Okay, fine. See, the sixth period begins by filling the last electron in the shell with n equal to 6. The lowest energy subshell of any shell is S. Okay, that is very obvious. For any shell, the first subshell that comes into picture is S. Later on, we have P, D, and F and everything. Therefore, the last electron of the first element in the sixth period enters the subshell 6s. Okay, fine. Okay, I think so, students. I need to teach you all a little bit more topics in order to understand this. But I think so, the sixth period concept and 6s is filling, that kind of makes sense. Okay. Let's see the next question. How many elements are present in the sixth period? Students, you all can determine the number of elements. If you all remember, we did this last time as well. Okay. For the fourth period, they had shown. See over here, this part. 2 plus 10 plus 6. Okay, fine. So in the fourth period, students, there are 2 S columns. Okay, 2 S block columns, 10 D block columns, and 6 P block columns. Yes or no? So 2 plus 10 plus 6. So basically it is like S orbital, 2 electrons in S orbital, 10 electrons in D orbital, and 6 electrons in P orbital. It is like that. Okay. So if I apply the same concept on the sixth period, now see students, please be careful, because in your sixth period, we also have something called, you all can see the sixth period over here. After cesium, barium, we have La. So this lanthanum, so this is a range, students. You all remember one separate series we have below the periodic table. So here this in the sixth period we have the lanthanoid series, and the seventh period we have actinoid series, which have been placed separately. So here in all, if I am just shift this little bit over here, okay. So here students, in all there are 14 elements. Alright. So basically, if I'm talking about the sixth period, okay, in the sixth period, first there are 2 S involved, okay. Obviously there are 10 D involved and 6 P is involved. But also there are F block elements over here. 14 F block elements are there, because your F orbital can hold how many electrons? 14 electrons. Okay, fine. So if we look at the solution down given over here. Okay, fine. See what is written. The sixth period begins by the filling of the last electron in the subshell 6s. Okay, the sixth period, sorry, and ends by completing the subshell 6p. Students, if you all write the entire configuration and everything of any element from the sixth period, you all will see that all these orbitals come into picture. 6s, 4f, 5d, 6p. Okay, in this order. You all can see after 6s, 4f is filled. Alright, fine. And after 4f, 5d is filled. Okay, so that is the reason, students, here remembering those energy levels becomes very much important. Okay, so here you all can see 2 from the S, 14 from the F, 10 from the D, and 6 from P. If you all add everything, you all get 32. So it means in the sixth period there are 32 elements. So students, you all have to see what are the subshells coming into picture. Okay, in the sixth period. So we have involvement of S, we have involvement of D and P. We also have involvement of F now. Okay, and F orbital can hold 14 electrons. I hope this kind of makes sense to you all. Okay, so let us move ahead. The next topic is electronic configuration in groups. Now we have seen electronic configuration in periods. Now let us see how we can relate it in groups. Okay, students, please keep your textbooks near you all and mark the points that I'm asking you all to mark. Okay, fine. So let us read what is written over here. New shell is added down the group. Now this is something you all already know. Okay, fine. Because see, when you all are going down the group, okay, when you all are going down the group, the period number is also increasing, right? When you all in the first part, the period number is 1. Then you all go below, it becomes 2, 3. So what is actually the period number? It is the principal quantum number of the valence shell. So you can see it is going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when you all are going down the group, new shells are being introduced. Okay, fine. When you all move across the period, electrons are added to the same shells. When you all move down the group, electrons are added to the new shells. Okay, fine. This is what basic you all must have learned before as well. The general outer configuration, therefore, is expected to be same down any particular group. Now, students, what is this general electronic configuration? We'll get to that. Don't worry about it. Okay, see. Indeed, it is found to be so far that groups 1, 2, and 3, okay, fine, okay, this is like a half statement, all right. In the groups 13 to 18, the appropriate inner D and F subshells are completely filled and the general outer electronic configuration is same. Okay, fine, students, we'll see the general configurations and then I'll explain this point, okay. As if for now, what you all can do is, you all can just mark this statement and keep, okay. Just mark this much and keep that when you all move, when I consider one group, any, okay, any random group I'll give you all the elements in that group will have a similar configuration. Okay, fine. That is what this paragraph is trying to tell you all. So I hope you all have marked this statement. Let us see what is written below. Okay. Okay, what I'll do is I'll directly explain here. They have given a table, so I'll directly explain it from here. Okay, fine. All right. So students, see, let us discuss about the first group, that is group 1. Okay, fine. So here they have written just 2 examples, not all the examples they have written, just 2 examples. Okay, one is lithium. Okay, fine. Lithium with atomic number 3. So you all know what the configuration is, 1s2 2s1. Then they have written sodium. Okay, sodium's atomic number is 11. I hope you all can see the table. Let me just zoom it in a little bit. Okay, fine. Sodium's atomic number is 11. So when I write the configuration, the last valence that I get is 3s1. Students, you all can see a pattern over here. For lithium, it was 2s1. Then you all go below sodium, which is in the third period, it is 3s1. Then whatever the next element is in the fourth period, it will have 4s1. The next element will have 5s1. You all can see a pattern over here. So down the group, the configuration has a general outer configuration. So this, for the first group, I can write it as NS1. I hope now what is written in that paragraph kind of makes sense. Okay. If I talk about the second group, now in the second group, students think of the groups. Okay. Now we have not discussing about periods, we are discussing about groups. So in the second group, students, okay, fine. In the second group, the first element is beryllium. So if I write the configuration for beryllium, it comes after lithium. You all can see the atomic number 3 and then 4. So obviously, if it comes after lithium, then 1 electron extra. So this will become 2s2. Similarly, here magnesium, you all can see it comes after sodium. It is in the fourth period, but in the second group. So sorry, it is in the third period, but in the second group. Okay. Now let us just concentrate on the groups part. So this is 3s2. Similarly, when you all will move down, okay, if I'll show you all this thing, periodic table. Yeah, I wish there was a diagram separately. Okay, students, just try to analyze from here. All right, fine. So I can see in the first group, after lithium comes sodium, then potassium. All right. So lithium's last configuration is 2s1, sodium's is 3s1, potassium's is 4s1. Now let's move on to group 2. You all can see beryllium's configuration is 2s2, magnesium is 3s2, calcium is 4s2. So you all can see a pattern over here. So for group 2, in general, I can write it as ns2. Okay, fine. Students, I hope this is making sense. All right. Now here, if you all observe one thing, they have just written for group 3. Students, from group 3, just a minute. From group 3 to group 12, it is your D block. Okay. And if it is D block, students, in that D block, somewhere in your 6th and 7th period, the lanthanoid and actinoid series also come, which means F block is also introduced. Okay, fine. So here, I think so they have explained it ahead separately. Here they have not written from 3 to 12. They have just written for 3. So I'll get back to 3. Before that, let us just quickly discuss from 13 to 18. So 13 to 18 is your P block. Okay, students. So in your P block, if I just look at the configuration, just a minute. Okay, fine. So let us see at group 13. Okay. So you all can see this element boron. All right. So boron with atomic number 5. Okay. And the configuration, end configuration is 2s1 and 2p1. Okay, fine. Next, this is 13 group. Okay, group 13. So the next element below boron is aluminium. So if I write the configuration for aluminium, it is 3s2 3p1. Students, see, I'll tell you all how you all can just conclude this is that, for example, lithium. Okay, where is lithium present? Lithium is present in the S block. Lithium is present in the first group. So it is very obvious that the end configuration of lithium is going to be S1. Okay, the S is indicating that S is subshell. I know that students, when I explained to you all that the table is divided into 4 blocks, SPDF, it actually means the subshells. Okay, so in lithium, if I'm talking about lithium, the last electron of lithium goes where? In the S subshell. It means that lithium is part of S block. And how many electrons are there? S1. So it means it is in the first group. And which period it is, that you all will come to know from the quantum number. So here you all can say 2s1. So without even looking at the periodic table, I can say that lithium is present in the second period, S block, first group. Okay, now if I talk about this boron that is there over here, so it is 2s2 2p1. So students, where is the last electron going? It is going in p subshell, which means that this boron is present where? It is present in the p block. Okay, now students, we know that in the p block there are altogether 6 columns, right? So the first column will have configuration p1, the next will have p2 going till p6. Okay, and P block, actually if you look at the bigger picture, that first column of P block has which number? Group 13. Okay, fine. So if I give you all just boron, you all write the configuration, you all will see, okay, the valence electron is going into 2p1, which means that boron is part of P block. Because it is P1, it is present in the first group of the P block, which is actually group number 13. And because the main shell is 2 over here, it is part of the second period. Okay, students, please let me know if whatever I explained just now, you all understood that.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay, because that is the entire concept. All right, fine. Like, let us take some just other random element. Okay, here you all can see oxygen. So what is the final configuration of oxygen? 2s2 2p4. So your 2p4 is my valence subshell. Okay, fine. So my valence electrons are going into the p subshell, which means oxygen is present in the p block. It is 2p4. 2p4 means fourth group of the p block. Now, which is the fourth group of p block? It is group 16. Okay, it starts from 13. So 13 is the first, then 14, 15, 16. So the fourth one is 16. Okay, so oxygen is in P block, 16th group. It is in the second period. Why? Because here the valence shell's principal quantum number is 2. Okay, fine. This is how your table is made, students, the entire modern periodic table. So here they have written for P block from 13 to 18. So you all can see for group 13, it is NH2NP1 and it goes till NH2NP6. Now this is completely filled, right? And your group 18 is anyways inert gases which are stable. Okay, fine. All right. Now students, here in your group 18, there is kind of one exception. Okay, in your group 18, all the other elements will follow this NH2NP6 except for your helium. You'll remember in the first period, we have hydrogen and helium, right? So helium's atomic number is just 2. Okay, so it is in duplet state. It won't have p orbital, but because it is an inert gas, it has been placed over there. So this NH2NP6 is obviously not followed by helium, but except for helium, all the other inert gases will follow this general outer configuration. Okay, so we are done with S block, P block. Now let's come to this D block, the group 3 that they have written over here. Okay, fine. So for this, I would like to show you all the periodic table or what we discussed last time. Okay, fine. So see students, or let us just look at the periodic table only. All right, fine. So here, where does your D block start? The D block starts from which period? From period 4. Okay, it starts from 4th period. This point we have already discussed last time, students, that after 4s 3D fills. Okay, after 4s, see, you all can see this zinc configuration over here. Now zinc is part of the D block, right? All right, so if I write the entire configuration, it is 4s to 3d10. So first 4s will fill, which means we have entered the 4th period, and then 3d comes into picture. So basically what they are trying to say is, whatever main shell y'all are in, okay, like if I just take y'all down to this table, just a minute. Okay, this group 3 table, students, you all can see the general configuration for group 3, how they have written it. NH2 N-1 D1. Okay, why? Because we are in the fourth shell, your D block starts from the fourth period. Okay, so for the fourth period, obviously first 4s2 will be filled, then we go to 3D, right? So we will go from 3D1 till last zinc 3D10. Yes or no? So you all can see here my principal quantum number is 4 because we are in the fourth period. But here the D shell, which is the D shell, it is 1 less. It is n minus 1. Okay, I think so now this makes sense. NH2 n minus 1 D raised to 1. This is for group 3. What will be for group 4? For group 4 it is going to be NH2 n minus 1 D2. For group 5 it is going to be D3, n minus 1 D3. Okay, till the last group 12. In group 12 it is going to be NH2 n minus 1 D raised to 10. Okay, now students, there are some other things also involved, so we'll see that ahead, but right now whatever I'm explaining, try to understand that properly. Okay, so everyone please let me know if you all understood this NH2 and n minus 1 concept. Everyone please let me know.
Yes, miss.
Yes.
What about others? Please answer. Oh, fine. All right. Just a minute. Just a minute, student. Someone has sent me something. Yes. Oh, all right. So what we'll do is, okay, students, now here, I think so. Okay, now let's come back to this paragraph again. Okay. See this. In the groups 13 to 18, okay, 13 to 18 means your P block, all right? The appropriate inner D and F subshells are completely filled. Now see students, in the first period, second period, third period, D is not introduced only, all right? The fourth period onwards, your 3D is introduced. And if you all will move down, your F is also introduced in the higher elements, okay? So by the time you all reach P block, from S, you all move from this D block, and inside that D block, there is small F block as well. So by the time you all reach the P block, everything is filled, and then only you all go to P block. Now, which number, where, for that, you all have to remember that energy series. Okay, fine. Okay. Now, students, this paragraph, just concentrate on this paragraph. In the groups 4 to 12, however, the D and F subshells are introduced at later stages. Okay, fine. Now groups 4 to, actually students, in your group 3 as well, F subshell is introduced. Yes or no? Because your lanthanoid and actinoid series, where they are placed exactly, you all can see your lanthanoid actinoid series, they are placed in group 3. Okay, so your F subshell is introduced in group 3 as well. Here they have written from 4 to 12. I don't know why. But if I have to write it correctly, your 3 will come, but that's okay. Fine. However, okay, this point is done. As a result, variation in the general outer configuration is introduced only at a later stages at 4 to 12. Okay. So that is the reason they have not written the configurations for group 4 to 12 over here. Okay, fine. Anyways, even if they have not written it, the next topic that we are going to study, it will involve that configuration. So we don't have to worry about it. Okay. So students, the next topic is electronic configuration in the 4 blocks. Okay. So now we'll discuss block wise. So now we have discussed configuration according to periods, configuration according to groups. Now we'll discuss how according to blocks. Now students, this actually I already explained to you all. Yes or no? When I was discussing that table, wherever your valence electron enters, whichever subshell your valence electron enters, the element is part of that particular block. Okay, fine. So here, if you all can see what is written, let us read what is written over here. We noted in section 7.2 that structure of the modern periodic table shows 4 blocks. Okay, these blocks are formed. Please mark this statement, very important. These blocks are formed in accordance with the subshell in which the last electron enters. The point that I explained, they have written it over here. So please mark, put a star mark over here. All right, when that point is an important point. Okay, fine. Accordingly, we have 4 blocks. So first, let us discuss about S block. Okay, so it is very obvious. The last electron in the S block will enter the S subshell. Okay, that is what the first statement is. Last electron are filled in the s subshell. Okay, fine. There being only one orbital in s subshell. So students, this point already covered that your s subshell is not further divided. It is on its own. Okay. Your p is further divided to 3, d is further divided to 5, and f is further divided to 7. Okay, fine. But s is on its own. Alright. So there being only one orbital in s subshell, the general outer electronic configuration of the s block is this. Now you all can see students here they have written the general configuration of the entire block. Like if I have to write for group 1, I will write NS1. If I have to write for group 2, I will write NS2. Okay, and S has capacity of 2 electrons only. But right now I am writing like S block overall. Okay, now your S block only comprises of 2 groups. Okay, fine. It kind of makes sense because in your S subshell only 2 electrons can be entered. Yes or no? Why is your D block of 10 group students? Because in your D orbital 10 electrons can be entered. Why is your P block of 6 group students? Because in your P orbital 6 electrons can be entered. Why is your F block of 14 elements? Because in F orbital 14 electrons can be entered. Okay, so try to relate everything. Try to relate everything to the configuration and whatever you all have studied till now related to electronic configuration. Okay. So your students, you all can mark this actually. Okay, the outer electronic configuration of S block. You all can see it is NS and then superscript 1 to 2. So it is a range. It is summarizing, right? For group 1, it is NS1. For group 2, it is NS2. So if I have to write the overall general, it is from NS1 to 2. Okay, fine. I think so it kind of makes sense. So thus elements of the group 1 and group 2 belong to S block. The S block is present on the extreme left. So this is something you'll already know. Next, let's move on to P block. Okay, students, I'll be continuing, but we are left with 4 minutes for the first session to end. So when the session ends, see to it that you all rejoin the session. Okay, fine. All right. Now, see what is written in the P block. Okay. So the first statement, it is very much an obvious statement that the last electron in P block will enter the P subshell. Okay. There being 3 degenerate p orbitals. You all remember I taught you all in this previous session or from the structure of atom chapter we have seen your p orbital, it is that infinity shaped or dumbbell shaped. Okay, there are 3 possible orientations, px, py, pz. Yes or no? So that is what they have written over here. And there are up to 6 electrons can be filled. Okay, because students, every orbital holds the capacity of 2 electrons. So P has 3 orbitals, 3 2s are 6. So overall P subshell can hold up to 6 electrons. That is the reason in P block we have 6 groups. Okay, fine. Okay, therefore the elements belonging to 6 groups, that is starting from 13 to 18, they constitute of the P block. All right, fine. So this is something you all know. Okay, now here this part that is there from here till you all can just mark this and keep from here till okay, not this students, just a minute. Let us read what is written over here. The P block appears on the right hand side of the modern periodic table. Okay, this is just about placement. The P block ends with the group 18, which represents the family of inert gas. The last group that is there, they are inert gases, stable gases. Okay, fine. Okay, mark from here, this point. Remarkably, from here till complete octaves. Okay. So in fact, students, this point also I already discussed while explaining. Okay. So here they have written about helium. Okay. See, the first element of the group 18 is helium, which does not have the P subshell. Helium's configuration is just 1s2. Okay. See, helium's configuration is 1s2. All right. So normally we should think that, okay, if it is 1s2, then we should place it in the S block, right? But that is not the scene because helium is an inert gas. Okay, so you all can think of it as an exception. Like all the other inert gases are following the normal pattern, what it is supposed to be. The valence electrons are going in P subshell and all, but helium does not follow that pattern. Okay, fine. So yet helium is placed in the 18th group of the P block because its valence shell is completely filled, which is complete duplet, similar to the valence shell of the other elements belonging. So all the other neon, all the other inert gases, they are also in a complete stable state, but an octet state. Okay, fine. All right. So this is one exception kind of thing that you can remember. Okay, and this last statement, mark student, the last statement, mark it because it gives us the general configuration. Mark and underline it. Okay, so you all can see for the P block, what is the general configuration? NH2, that is completely filled s orbital. And then for P, NP. Students, N stands for principal quantum number. It will differ according to which period we are talking about. Okay, that is very obvious. So we go from NP1. Okay, in group 13 it is NP1, and till group 18 it becomes NP6. So the range is from 1 to 6. Okay, you all can see that is the general configuration. Students, please everyone let me know if you all have understood till now whatever is happening.
Yes.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.